Whenever you try to explain the craziness that's going on in this world, people are like, why would they do that? What would they do that for? Well, there's really kind of two reasons: money and power. Now, if you can't figure out that money is a pretty compelling reason for people to do crazy things, I don't even know what planet you're living on, Jack. But it seems like people just don't understand the whole power thing. Why would you want that? Well, if you have all the money, if you have more money than you would ever need, really the only thing left is power in a lot of ways, if you have that type of mindset. Now, sometimes people look at other people that do horrible things and we try to understand. It's like, I don't understand how you could do that or what would compel somebody to do that. The reason is that other people don't necessarily think like we think. We would think that it's like, how could they do that? And you can't rationalize it in your head. But to them, that's just what excites them. In the same way that it's difficult for us to understand the complex, sick, and twisted fantasies of people that commit horrible acts, it's kind of safe to say that there's a lot of people that get excited by a lot of weird things that most people don't. So when most people think, oh, if you retire, you spend time with your family, spend time with your grandchildren, travel, knit, do other things. It seems to me like it's hard for us to understand that some people may just be excited. Their desire, their unquenchable thirst, if there's no longer need for money or other things that we would deem to be normal, is power, specifically power over other people. Now, throughout history, people have had great desires for power. There's more than enough historical examples of this. And if people don't think that people would be compelled to seek and absorb as much power as possible, then you just don't understand history. So in the same way that it's hard for us to understand the sick and twisted fantasies of a person that commits horrible crimes, it's also difficult for us to understand why somebody would just constantly want power forever. Which brings me to trying to understand one of my favorite people in the world, Nancy Garbelosi, the Speaker of the Garbage Monsters. Nancy, who comes to my house on Wednesdays and Saturdays to pick up the trash, makes about $223,000 a year in salary. Estimates have her net worth coming in at an average of about $106 million. She is currently 81 years old. The average American retires at 64, which means she's been working for an additional 17 years to make a couple $100,000 a year when her net worth is at over $100 million. Between her and her husband and their suspiciously well-timed stock trades, which have been giving them explosive returns for decades, her net worth has increased so much that she's actually the sixth wealthiest member of Kong. She has 5 children and grandchildren. Her and her husband own multiple multi-million-dollar homes, a vineyard, commercial property, and a variety of other things, including their massive stock portfolio. Let's do some math. If she's worth $100 million and she's 81, let's just, for the sake of the argument, give her 29 years, meaning that she lives until 110 years old. That's $3.4 million a year. If you divide that by 365 days, it's nearly $10,000 a day. She could spend $10,000 a day till the day she dies at 110 and still not run out of money. Now, as most people understand, if you have $100 million and you have investments and things that cash flow and appreciate in value, that's presuming that she didn't earn another penny from now until 110. 29 years without earning anything on the money and could still spend nearly $10,000 a day. You can even see here in Forbes, she'll make $153,000 a year in pension and Social Security benefits at retirement, and even a $1 million lump sum in her federal savings account. I mean, when you just go back and look at her statistics, this woman has been in government since 1981 as the chair of the California Democratic Party. So as we listen to this no longer mentally sharp and completely insane person run and dictate the rules by which the remainder of the people in our country, and in a lot of ways the people of Earth, live, it just has you wonder, why? This person is currently in her 18th term and has been a quote-unquote public servant for 40 years. Yet we constantly hear people like her talk about how bad and how corrupt and how messed up and how unjust or whatever the political system is. It's like, dog, you've had 40 years. That's you. You're the system. She's the third most powerful person in our entire government structure. It's like, that's you. All I'm saying is that it is absolutely mind-blowing to me that people could vote for people like this that have had decades upon decades upon decades to supposedly change the system and do whatever. And it's so bad and so evil and so corrupt and so everything from the top to the bottom, and it needs to be reformed and all this stuff. Yet they keep electing people like this over and over and over again. Problems that they create, you choose them to solve them. That's like, I don't even understand how people could rationalize that. That's like paying that's like paying a fireman to start your fire and then paying them to put it out. All I'm saying is that this person, and not even just her, the people that supposedly represent us have had decades upon decades to fix all these problems, when in reality, they were the ones that caused them. Yet they gaslight all of us to believing that they're there to solve the problem that they contributed in creating in the first place. These people are not public servants. They are power hungry. It is so obvious. The average age of a United States citizen is 38 and a half years old, and Garbelosi is 81. More than double. All I'm trying to say is that these power-hungry, rich, elite tyrants have absolutely no interest in being servants of the public. They do not represent us. They cause the problems that they theoretically pretend like they will fix. Yet people keep lining up and applauding them and choosing for them to hold these positions indefinitely. Garbelosi, Joey Dumpster, and the vast majority of these supposedly public servants are bought and paid for. They've had their time. They've been there for decades. And look where we are. But what's so sad about all this stuff is not that they're doing it, but that we are allowing them to. That people will somehow look at all of these systems and all of these structures and see how bad they are and how unjust it's been to so many people, so many subsets of people across the board forever and ever, and it needs to have a change. Yet they choose these people to represent them. Because most people say, well, these are the adults in charge. They're the experts. They have experience. Well, look where that's got us. Look what the experts have walked us into. Yet your average everyday person is either not paying attention, doesn't care at all, and will go and choose for more of this because they just don't want to invest the time to understand. And they will blindly sacrifice their freedom, their decisions, their power, their autonomy to these people that are supposed to represent them when they don't even take the time to understand or pay attention to all the things that they've done and what they represent, or ever consider why they're in that position in the first place. Yet here we are giving them more of our power, handing it right away without any consideration as to what they're going to do with it. If past behavior is any indication of future activity, I don't understand why we keep doing this to ourselves. Because I can assure you of this, of all of these people that are supposedly our public servants working for us, who's benefiting? Are they hurting right now? They're making more money than ever. They're making stock trades that are going off the chart. They're getting paid on the taxpayer dime for all varieties of things. Paid for, taken care of, healthcare, all for the rest of their life. They're more than insulated. But who's suffering? Your average everyday person. They've had decades and decades to do this, and look how bad it still is. The most prosperous and free nation that the world has ever known, and you have potholes in the streets, homeless people on the streets, even in her own district. I mean, are we paying attention? They say that we're going to run out of money to pay our bills if they don't raise the debt to an unlimited amount or take it away completely. Meanwhile, we ship billions upon billions of dollars overseas. We squander trillions of dollars in other countries that don't even like us, that we leave all of our assets there. It's like these people are spending us right out of the game. They're literally, quite literally, destroying the promise of our great nation. Yet these are supposedly our public servants. I'll leave you with this. If you care about other people, If you care about yourself, if you care about your country, if you care about your family, if you care about the people you love, if you care about your children or future generations that are gonna be living in this environment that we're creating now, if you have any respect for all the people that sacrificed life, limb, and all of their efforts to get us to this point where we could live in the safest, most comfortable environment in the history in human history. If you're just going to look the other way as you choose and watch these people erode every single thing that's been set up for us, and you don't even want to take the time to pay attention, that is such disrespect. Don't you care? You're the person that really doesn't care. The not paying attention shows your disrespect for all of the efforts of all of the people that have done great things before us.